3 years ago, I was just an undergraduate student, not even sure if I'd be good at science because I'd never been in that environment. And now it's 3 years later, I'm 25, have my own laboratory, starting a company, doing all this, and actually entering the market with something that hopefully is useful to people.
Welcome to Stories from the NNI. This series features voices from the U.S. National Nanotechnology Initiative. I'm Lisa Friedersdorf, Director of the National Nanotechnology Coordination Office. I had the pleasure to speak with Brandon Carpenter. I met Brandon a couple of years ago at a conference, and he was just starting his journey in research. We introduced him to the concept of our network of student clubs, and he went back to his university, the University of Central Florida, and started SENT, the Society for Emerging and NanoTechnologies, which has become one of the most active student groups in the network. But today, I'm here to talk with him about his company. He is the co-founder and CTO of Feynman Nano, and he was also listed on the 2017 Forbes 30 Under 30 in Science list. Brandon, can you tell me a little bit about your company?
Sure. So our company is called Feynman Nano. We are a nano manufacturing company that focuses in fabricating optical substrates. Fabricate them uniformly in periodic arrays.
What is the benefit of doing those extended arrays?
So the benefits of being able to build these arrays, especially being able to build them periodic over large enough areas for detection purposes, is that you can detect very small or trace amounts of an analyte in a medium. So to give you an example, let's say blood. Let's say I wanted to look for a specific biomarker that's an indicator for a disease. Well, through these substrates, I could basically take a nano-patterned array, put a drop of whole blood or serum on top of it, and shine a laser through it, and based off of the reflection you get from it, you can actually tell what's in it. So you could see if those biomarkers are there. You can detect these diseases much earlier than conventional techniques because you can detect them while they're still in trace quantity.
Where do you see your company in 5 years?
Ideally, in 5 years, what we would like to do is expand in optical substrates to look more into rapidly diagnosing different diseases, such as genetic-based diseases, cancers, so on and so forth, all based on that principle of identifying different biomarkers for the disease. And if things go as well as we hope, we'd like to ultimately begin to look at other types of medical applications outside of optical substrates. So for example, another application of nanostructures is their use in surface coatings. You can create a repellent effect towards different things such as blood platelets or bacteria. And in doing so, you could actually cut down in hospital-acquired infections or other types of nasty diseases. And this is actually a very big problem here in America. If I remember the numbers correctly, approximately 750,000 people get infections like that every year, and up to 100,000 people actually die from infections like that, just in the US alone.
So it's like developing an antimicrobial surface without using disinfectants.
Correct. It creates an unfavorable surface for bacterium or microorganisms to settle on. Our focus, at least at the moment, is not to kill, but just to repel. And the reason why that is because when you kill the bacterium, you can actually create a layer of bacteria on them that creates a biofilm and actually creates a favorable surface for bacterium or microorganisms to settle.
What do you see as your biggest challenges moving forward with this technology?
The biggest challenge moving forward, I guess for us, is just learning how to scale and really grow a business. For the longest time, we've been focused on the laboratory development and kind of getting prepared for this moment where we would actually take something from the lab and actually try to put it into the real world. So I guess the big challenge is just making that transition, crossing that valley, and really trying to take something, now that it's ready to leave the lab, actually getting it out the door.
So I think that, the fact that that you had the opportunity as an undergraduate to do research and then used some of that foundational research that was funded by the NNI to spin out a company. I think that's a really interesting piece of your story.
Yeah, and the NNI has actually been fundamentally instrumental to our success as a company since its very beginning. We started as a university spin-out where I was actually working as an undergraduate researcher for my PI, Dr. Thomas, at the UCF Nanoscience Technology Center. While I was working for him, my main job was building ceramic nanostructures, but through that government-funded grant, we were actually able to come up with the technique that we now use for our nanofabrication. And from there, we were able to actually transition and realize that this idea had commercial applications. And so from there, we went through the I-Core program, the site, not the national version, to learn more about customer discovery and what it really takes to not just create something in a lab, but to create something of value to the real world, and something that could actually make that transition from the laboratory to the real world. So a lot of it focused on just getting out of the building, talking to potential customers, to make sure that we were building something that people actually wanted when the day came for us to actually sell something.
So it sounds like you've had a really supportive ecosystem that's been available to you down there at the University of Central Florida.
Correct. It's been a very supportive ecosystem for entrepreneurship in general. And given the strong scientific tendencies of the university, it's provided a great ecosystem to help boost and accelerate everything we've been doing. And even as we've gone through different phases of our company, starting from a small idea in a lab that we didn't know if it really meant anything or if it would just be a cool paper. From there, all the way to the point where we went through I-Core to do customer discovery, to really help flush out the idea with mentors that could help educate us and guide us through the process, to now where we're actually located at the University of Central Florida's Business Incubator, where we continue to get the next level of guidance to actually, now that we're ready to go to market, take what we have and actually get it into the real world and begin selling.
Well, that sounds very exciting. I want to thank you for your time today. It's been a really interesting conversation, and I appreciate your insights.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Stories from the NNI. If you would like to learn more about nanotechnology, please visit www.nano.gov and check back here for more stories.